You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
Sure. Packer Up just reiterates what I said. He goes, every time I hear skull, I hear stole. Nice. Got him. Mr. Coach Len says that he thinks that AJJ should still be on this roster. I know that a lot of people feel that. I'm pretty sure Tim is in that area, or at least that he deserved to be on this roster. If I can't.
You guys know Ant's my guy. All right. I've been a huge Ant Johnson supporter, but if you're going to tell me it's between him and KT Oladapo,
but what about if it's between him and Zane Alexander there, Tim?
Zane Anderson?
Zane
That's
Anderson.
a special team slot. He's never going to say a snap of safety.
I hope you're right, Tim.
Not worried about that. He's a special teamer.
Sure. And then another great one, Mr. Philly Flyover. We got a Philly fan in here, and he's been very nice, which is not my experience with most Philadelphia fans. They're a great team, but I tell you what, that is a brutal fan base. I read a stat today that they are the only professional sports team that actually has a built-in jail to their stadium. I looked it up. That is true. They are so bad that if you guys remember, there was that 102-year-old lady who came out to sing like the national anthem or something like that, and they booed her. They booed her. So anyways, he's been real cordial in the chat. So it's nice to always, we like having opposing fans in here, especially if you're cool in the chat. He says he likes Jordan Love. So I really appreciate that. And hopefully,
at the end of the day, it's always sunny in Philadelphia.
Hey, that's true. All right.
Yeah, shout out Coach to Philly Fly over there, but I appreciate you swinging through, man. And I got a lot of respect for Philly. I got a good buddy. His name's Jeremy. Been a diehard Eagles fan his whole life. I think he lives in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I got to know him really well. And, man, you're not going to find a more passionate fan base. There's no doubt about it. And the reality, too, is they're always the bad ones. The turds that stink the most are the ones that are going to get noticed, right? We know there's good fans within that Eagles fan base that aren't – they know how to act. I'll just leave it at that. Go ahead, Jake.
We've kind of had joint ownership over the Dallas Cowboys, too, these past couple of years.
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Shout out to the Eagles.
There you go. Or like their stepdad and stepmama. Jake G126 says, hey, fellas, I didn't realize the show started an hour earlier today. I dropped a question in the Patreon. If you want to hit it tomorrow, that's cool. Just predictions. If we have time, we can maybe try it today, but otherwise we will hit on that, I'm sure, tomorrow. Mr. Jake G126. We did end up going randomly about an hour early. We didn't know until a little bit later in the day. Sometimes that will happen because Clayton's schedule fluctuates every now and then. He has time that frees up. So just keep an eye on Twitter. That's probably the best way to check our stuff and to see if we are going to be going live. We're going to try to update maybe YouTube if we can in the future. But yeah. And then last
time you're going to come to my press conference late.
It's true. Mr. Coach Len says once again, Mustafa, as me and Tim were talking about, he goes, he's had a good camp, but also still struggles in coverage. He is a human meat missile, though. So
there you go.
In case you were wondering.
Got it. All right. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Patreon since Jake G said that real quick. You guys go with handle another question here from the Patreon group?
Yes.
Jake Gotchi says, fun prediction for tonight. Let me actually see if I can get this a little bit more zoomed in. Here we go. Fun prediction for tonight. Week 17 ends. What's Green Bay's record? Who is leading the team in receiving yards? And how many picks did Love throw? Who has the most interception? Who has the most tackles? And who has the most sacks? All right.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Let's dive into it here. All right. Week 17 ends, right? Or the 17th game, week 18, I'm sure is what he means there, right? What's Green Bay's record? I'm going to say they won 11 games. I said somewhere between 10 and 13. The way I'm feeling right now, I'm going to say 11 games. What do you guys think?
I think I was strong at 12. I thought that Tim was up there around 15, 16, I thought. Or did he say we weren't losing a game?
14-3, and I'm not deviating from my prediction. We're losing 3 games this year.
Tim, did I say 11 or 12? Do you remember? Did you write mine down?
I think it was 12.
I thought it was 11 or 12. Okay.
I think you had him at 12.
I'm kind of a prep freak. Like, I like being prepared. Everything's organized, but it's also cool to get questions like this on the fly, man. You get real reaction. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, who's going to lead the team in receiving yards? For me, I'm going to say Jaden Reed again, man. And the main thing is his flexibility. That dude can play slot. He can play Z. He can play flyer. He's going to get those pop passes, those touch passes we talk about all the time. I'd have to go with Jaden Reed. How do you guys feel?
I'll go with Tay Wicks.
Tay Wicks.
Sorry, I'm reading the chat. What's the question?
What's your favorite pickle?
Kosher.
Kosher. Got it. All right. Who's going to lead the team in receiving yards? I know exactly what you're going through there, Jacob, because when I'll be reading something. Y'all ask me a question. I go, huh? Who's going to lead the team in receiving yards?
I'm going to go Dobbs.
Dobbs? Okay. Got it. So Dobbs, Tay Wicks, and Jaden Reed. How freaking cool is it that we all had a different answer? That's awesome.
And nobody said Watson, right?
Right.
That's crazy because, like, healthy Watson, that's what So Turtle's just saying here. Healthy Watson is a monster. And so far, he's shown that he's good to go, man. And that is scary.
Mm-hmm. So, next, who has the let's see. Actually, how many picks did Love throw during the season? I'm going to let you go first here, Tim.
I'm going to just have a conservative estimation, and I'm going to go with 0. He throws 0 picks. No interceptions. No.
53 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
He actually will get 1 interception as well. He's going to play defense.
Let's go with 14.
Carly says
14?
-7.
Okay. So that's some would say it's a little high, but I could see that, man. I could see that.
Because, not all picks are on the quarterback. You get those errant tip balls, things happen, and interceptions, get credited to the quarterback. And it doesn't always mean that's, an error in decision. It can be those fluke plays. So, yeah, I'd be somewhere between 9 and 11 on ones that he, actually throw. But, I think 14 probably more realistic.
Got it. All right. Cool. Jacob?
I'm going to go 8 or 9. I think it's going to be sub 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was thinking around 10 myself. So I'm kind of right in between you two. So if he has under 10 and throws for over 40 touchdowns, Packers probably the number 1 seed, to be honest. That means they get into the football and they put some points on the board. All right, next one. Who has the most interceptions for the Packers? I'm going to go with McKinney.
Okay.
Tim? Or actually, Jacob. You go ahead, Jacob. I'm sorry, Tim. Go ahead, Jacob.
The easy answer would be Alexander, but I'm going to throw a curveball. I'm going to say my boy Stokes all of a sudden starts being a ball hog.
Oh, boy. You talking about, woo. I'll be one fired up compadre if Eric Stokes leads the team in interceptions, man. That would be awesome.
Well, because at first when I got this question, I was like, what is this? It's not really going to help us. But think about it, because if certain players do end up being this top player, that means the defense in certain ways is going to be way either better than we thought or way different than we thought. And if Stokes ends the year with like 8 picks or something like that, I don't know, dude. I would be so excited. It would just be crazy.
That would be awesome. Go ahead, Tim.
You guys know my answer already.
Take it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say it.
That's why I didn't say it. Tim's got dibs on that. So, all right, I love this too, man. I guess that we were asking with the question earlier, who's going to be the MVP, the offensive MVP, rookie MVP. Look, Emilio just types in all caps, Glover. For no reason, Travis Glover. Watch somebody get injured, Travis Glover come in and win offensive rookie of the year. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Yeah.
I'd laugh. All right. So again, thanks, Jake G. Appreciate you, buddy. Got you there with the Patreon group. If you guys are interested in joining the Patreon group, just go to patreon.com, search for Packer Fan Total Access, or go to patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access, or you can scan this cool little QR code in the upper right. That'll send you there as well. So appreciate everybody that's supporting us in there. All right. Next thing, gents, let's talk about some of the Eagles team rankings from last year. And we'll also include, when we get to the defensive side of the ball, we'll talk about their defense as far as Miami, because obviously Fangio's coming from Miami to Philly. We'll look at Philly and Miami, if that makes sense. What I'm going to do is try to do this in an orderly fashion, and we're going to dive into offensive numbers first, if that's all right with you guys. So the big talk is their ability to run the ball, right? We've all talked about that pretty much. So if you go yards per rush attempt in 2023, Miami led the way at 5 yards a carry. You'll notice that the Philadelphia Eagles are 13th with 4.3 yards per carry. Okay. So at 4.3 yards per carry, that kind of surprised me because Green Bay, even though we didn't have the best running game last year, we had 4.4. Everybody's talking about how the Philadelphia Eagles have this dominant running game and it's going to run all over Green Bay. You know, I know Aaron Jones is gone, but you replaced Aaron Jones with possibly the best replacement you could come up with in Josh Jacobs, the 2022 NFL rushing leader. I think people were kind of sleeping on Green Bay's running game compared to Philadelphia. Does this strike you guys as odd or catch you by surprise, the fact that Philly is 13th in the league? Now, they're tied for 10th, obviously, at 4.3. So that's a more realistic number there. Does that kind of catch you guys off guard? Because I was expecting them to be like top 3, top 5.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if I'd put them top 3, but yeah, somewhere around that top 5 area. So it's a little shocking. And I do agree with the sentiment that I think people are sleeping on this run game that we have here in Green Bay. And I wouldn't be surprised after that, like you said, Clayton, that first quarter of the season, you know, that first 4 to 5 games here, if we don't creep up those team rankings when it comes to rushing. You know, we can talk about Josh Jacobs. You know, we kind of know what we're going to get, but we don't know what we're going to get. You know, he had the off year last year, obviously not entirely on him, kind of where he was playing and kind of, you know, the offense that he was running. It's going to be different this year, but you know, we have some unknowns, Marshawn Lloyd being one of them. And then we've got Mr. Emmanuel Wilson. I really think that this is going to be a breakout year for him within reason. I'm not saying he's going to be all pro or anything like this, but I think you're going to see him emerge as a supporting cast type of running back and really putting in the work and, you know, making plays for us. So I think we're going to step up the list here in the rankings when it comes to the run game.
Got it. Jake Shavink in the chat said they spammed inside zone all year and teams keyed in on it. Maybe he's talking about down the stretch. If you look at these ranking numbers too, in 2023, they averaged 4.3 yards a pop. The last 3 games, 4.3 yards a pop. But look at that last game they played, only 2.8 in that final game where they got beat. If you looked at the last game that they played, right, of last year, Philadelphia was only 3 spots from being dead last at 2.8 yards per rush. So interesting little stat there when you kind of look at it. And here's the thing too, at home, Philly actually averaged 4.3 yards a carry, which was their year average. Away, they were pretty well balanced. So playing on the road didn't really affect their running game, as it was still 4.3 yards per carry. Now it dipped a little bit from 2022 from 4.6, but you can kind of tell they did take a slight step back. So Jacob, anything you want to add to the rushing yards per carry here for Philly?
Yeah, just an opinion, I guess. I've never really been so impressed with Saquon Barkley. The way that everybody touted him when he came out of out of college, and the way that don't get me wrong, he was impressive, and I thought he's a physical specimen for sure. But for all the hype that he had, talking about he was going to be like the next Bo Jackson and like the next, you know, like crazy top. I think he's been a maybe middle of the league running back at his best. I really don't think there's that much hype, and he's getting old, man. So I just don't feel like that they're going to improve much on this run game. And I really do think the Packers are set up to do anything but decline, you know?
I mean, yeah, I can't
not decline, sorry.
Right. I can't see a scenario where it's like, okay, they're a little older. They might, you know, hit the wall. It seems like they're on the ascent, right? Is what it seems like when it comes to the Packers. So let's look at passing stats real quick. If we go to passing offense, and let's go to yards per pass attempt here. All right. And who led the league? Brock Purdy's San Francisco 49ers at 9 yards per pass attempt. Second was Miami, then Baltimore, Houston, Detroit. Green Bay comes in the number 9 spot. Philly, number 13. So same as their rushing spot there at 7.2. They're actually tied for 11th, though. So these two teams, when you look at it offensively, guys, both yards per carry, like yards per attempt, rushing, and passing yards per attempt, they're like neck and neck. And it's going to be a damn good ball game to watch Friday night.
I had said that a few weeks ago on the pod that I got this sneaking feeling that we're going to expect, a slugfest and a lot of scoring, but this reeks of 14-10 or, 13-10 type of game. It could be a grinder. It really could. These teams are evenly matched in a lot of ways. And, first game of the year, international play. It's Friday. There's a lot of weird variables. This could be any kind of football game. A boat race in either direction, I don't see happening. I see it being a close game for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Anything you want to add to the passing game there, Jacob?
No. People are going to be all on paper. They added Jahan Dotson. They've got a really good 1 through 3. We've got a really good 1 through 6. And we've got 2. They have Dallas Goedert. I think he's a little bit banged up. I'm sure he's going to play. All in all, I'm not scared of him. I'm just not. And I think that we're in a much better position to improve all these numbers. I think they're in a much better position to take a massive decline, or at least a decline.
Yeah. Now, when you look at overall scoring last year, the NFL team points per play, which is my favorite metric as far as scoring power for an offense. San Francisco, number 1, Miami 2, Dallas 3, Baltimore 4, Detroit 5. Green Bay comes in the number 7 spot. Right behind them, Philadelphia Eagles at .379. I mean, it's neck and neck on the offensive side of the ball for sure. So there is your scoring.
Kick off the 2024 football season with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's the easiest way to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. This September, get automatic win every week by picking Caleb Williams to get just 1 passing yard. That's right, 4 weeks of free wins, but only if you jump on it before September ends. And don't forget, you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks even has injury insurance, so if your player leaves the game early, you're still in the game. I've been loving Prize Picks, my go-to for simple, fast, and fun fantasy action. When my picks hit, I get paid in as little as 15 minutes. Download Prize Picks now and use code PackDaddy to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code PackDaddy for $50 guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Remember, Prize Picks is a skill-based fantasy game, making your lineups just got a whole lot more exciting. U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built for us to get started.
Look there. Now let's go to scoring defense. Actually, since we started with the run, let's go to rush defense. All right. So let's see if we can pull this off here. Opponent yards per rush attempt. Let's see who was better at stopping the run between these two teams. Okay. New England led the way, obviously, then Houston, Minnesota, Chicago, then Tennessee. Let's see who comes first here. Is it going to be Philadelphia or Green Bay? Definitely Philly. They gave up 4.3 yards per attempt last year. Green Bay gave up 4.5. So, again, you change defensive coordinators, and this is what I was going to try to take into consideration here. You see where they finished there. Where did Miami finish against the run? Vic Fangio was 7th in the league, actually tied for 3rd at only 3.8 yards per attempt. So, we can't pull up Jeff Hafley's numbers, obviously, from Boston College, and nor would we want to. Trust me, I dug into that. But it seems like Philly may have the edge as far as stopping the run. And we know that that defensive line, that defensive front is just, one of the best in the league. So anything you guys want to add to that conversation there, man?
I just think it's a good point. Like So Turtle said, Devin White, I didn't realize how bad he's been over his career. His PFF grades are like 30, 50, 40, 30, 50, 40. And he's
one of those guys I've struggled with, Jacob, because like PFF, if you just look at PFF, it's cheeks. But teams continue to pay him good money, and it's like, which one do you trust more, right? Multiple teams willing to pay him good money, or do you trust the PFF grades? Probably the truth's probably in the middle. I know it's a boring answer, but I'm with you, man. I've kind of came across that too. Go ahead, man. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, that was pretty much it. I just want to rip on Devin White.
You did great, sir.
Thank you. Real quick, I guess, not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but CJN just said in comparing the two wide receiver cores, he said he did a little deep dive as looking at how they match up. And he said he agrees with me that after their number 4 or after the number 3, they fall off. It was where ours, you could argue that we could mix and match our 6 and they'd be just as good as their top 3. It's just crazy how deep and talented we are at that position.
Yeah. And I think that would come into play a little more if it was later in the season where guys were banged up. But week 1, it's like, damn it, we would catch them week 1 because their 11 personnel is going to be strong.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, you want to add anything to the opponent's rushing yards per attempt, bro?
2 new DCs. Let's see what happens. That's all I got. We'll see. I can't wait for Friday. You guys fired up yet? We're like days away here.
No doubt about it, man. All right, so that was rush defense. Let's go to passing defense. And again, you got to kind of take this with a grain of salt because the Packers have a whole new DC in there. But let's see here, passing yards per pass attempt by your opponent. Let's see where Philly came in against the pass. 19th at 6.7. Actually was deadlock tied with Joe Barry's Green Bay defense at 6.7. So I think Jordan Love's going to have plenty of opportunity to come out firing on all cylinders, passing the football if everybody's on the same page. Jacob, you pointed this out. What was it, 2022 when he had to come in and play for Aaron, and he kind of lit him up. And I know different defensive coordinator, obviously, maybe a little bit different personnel too. You got a couple of rookies that are going to be added in. We can't just – Quinyon Mitchell was my best corner in the draft. They got him, right? They also got Cooper DeJean. I'm trying to figure out if Cooper DeJean's actually healthy or not. Is he good to go?
I don't think he is. From what I've read, it doesn't seem like he's going to play.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because, I'm with you. I was kind of thinking he wasn't going to play, but I haven't been keeping that close tabs on that either. So, so that's where Philly sits there. Now, obviously, Miami, a little bit higher, 15th at 6.6, only 1/10 of a yard difference, some passing yards per attempt. So, I think Jordan Love's going to have an opportunity to throw the ball around the yard a little bit, man, for sure. You don't want to get too crazy with it, but also it is something that I don't know what his underdog fantasy number is, Jacob, as far as passing yards. What the number's set at for Jordan Love in this game, but I think things line up as long as the protection can hold up enough for that big defensive line to not get in his face. I think he's got a chance to get a lot of yards there come Friday night. Let's go to scoring defense real quick. Opponents' points per play. We haven't hit that yet, right, guys? So Baltimore led the way, then Kansas City, San Francisco, Tampa Bay, Las Vegas. Green Bay comes in at the number 12 spot under Joe Barry. You guys know I've talked about, Tim, I feel like we got to crack into that top 10, man, for Jeff Hafley to justify this move. If that drops, I'm going to be angry. Right?
Especially considering the talent that was brought in on top of it. So
right.
you bring Coach Half in, and then you give him a bunch of weapons to use. I mean, you got to think we're going to improve, and I believe that's the formula. If we can break into the top 10, if we got a top 10 defense in this league, and this offense is humming like I know it's going to, we're bringing Lombardi home. I'm still confident as ever, and but it's going to take that. It really is, because the personnel. It's there. The position coaches are there. You know, it's changing of the guard. You got a new regime. You got some fresh talent. You got some familiar faces mixed in there. Veteran leadership on top of the young talent. I think Coach Half gets us over the hump, and we get into that top 10. And I'm with you, Clayton. If we don't, we're really going to be scratching our heads. And like we do every 4 or 5 years, we start asking for
you and I are dreading it. We're like, God, please let this work out.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we get more than one Lombardi trophy here in the Matt LaFleur, Jeff Hafley era. So we'll see what happens.
I like it. Jacob, look at this number, man. Philly last year, 29th in opponents' points per play. They were 3 from the bottom of the league. People go, well, how did Miami do with Fangio down there? 24th. So telling you, man, it's that gives me a lot more hope right there. You know, when you were talking about the slight edge going to them being able to stop the run and them having a strong running game. And someone pointed out in the chat too, I need to give them a shout out if you know who it was. They said, keep in mind Jalen Hurts and that tush push, how often they ran it. I don't know how often they did last year. I know the year before they ran it like crazy. That's going to bring that yards per attempt down. And that's a great point, and that's worth mentioning, obviously. But I don't know, man. When you look at these, let's say they're somewhere in the middle between 24th and 29th. Let's say they're 26 in scoring defense this year. Jordan Love will go out there and put up a 30 or a 40 burger on them, right?
Yep.
I would think so for sure. Just to do a little house cleaning from what we just covered a couple minutes ago, Mr. Round Sandville in the chat says DeJean was not on the injury report. Don't think. Down there in the chat as well, Mr. United Bates says this was a quote from Mr. Vic Fangino, whatever his name is. I think he is as prepared as he can be, but having said that, he's not where he needs to be. So I think that means he's not hurt, but he ain't going to play unless we have to. That's what I heard from that.
Yeah, that and listen, that could be a little bit of gamesmanship too, right? You know how they do. They could be trying to throw a little smoke screen there. But again, he's a rookie, and you know, you're missing all that time in training camp. It's kind of like Jordan Morgan. The reason you don't want to march him right out there is because he's missed pretty much all of camp other than that first week. That could be the case.
He's back from injury. He's behind on reps. He's basically our version of Katana Oladapo right now. Got all the potential in the world. Probably is going to be really good. But as far as right now, he's just behind the 8 ball with a lot of people, compared to a lot of people, I would say.
Got it. Good info, Bates. Thank you so much, buddy.
And one other thing you mentioned, what would be the over-under for Jordan Love's passing yards this game? Most of it has it set around 257.5.
Tim, how do we feel about that? Would you go over or under 257 yards passing for Jordan Love? Over. I like it. You look like Craig on Friday. Yes.
Yeah. More than that, probably less than 500 yards, but definitely more than that.
Go ahead, Tim, or Jacob. Keep cleaning up the chat here, bro. What else you got for us?
If you want me to hit the chat, I can do that.
Yeah, let's do
that? We got a few we should probably clear out. Yeah. Jeez. All right. Prince says Jacob trolled for the ladies at bingo night confirmed. I don't know why I started that. I thought it was funny.
How dare you?
Says Philly jails have stadiums. Okay, that's good. Respect Oranges says, and the robot who was hitchhiking around the world through goodwill of others, he was destroyed in Philly. I remember seeing that video as well. That poor robot was just trying to work through the sidewalks, and he got robbed, and I think they stabbed the robot. So welcome to Philly. Again, Jeff Zilke says, Philly fans cheered when Irving left on a stretcher. Low class at best. Woof, getting out in Philly real quick. And then Jean Karamazov. He says, did you see the Gruden's report on the game? I have not yet. Did you see that at all? Oh, guess who's here? Well, maybe. Hey, buddy.
Hey, we're live.
Hey.
What was that?
I don't know. John
Jacob.
says, but does Jay Jacobs get a touchdown in his first 4 receptions? Does he set the all-time NFL record for most receptions without a TD? John, does that mean that last night you took the homework seriously, and is that what it takes, is 4 receptions? Because I believe he had around like 1,450 receptions without a touchdown in like 4 or 5 years. So he's saying right here, but does Josh Jacobs get a touchdown in his first 4 receptions, or does he set the all-time NFL record for the most receptions without a touchdown?
It could go either way, right? Because I don't think we're going to be like force feeding him the ball just to, try and overtake some crazy, record like this. So, yeah. But would be nice if we got it on the first drive, right? First couple of targets, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Emilio, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I don't think so. We might as well keep the record going. But if we could keep that going, there was also another stat in Patreon, which you wouldn't know about, Jacob, because you're not in there. But there was a stat that Gerald Riggs has the most career yards on receptions when scoring exactly 0 receiving touchdowns with 15-16, so 1,516 yards. Josh Jacobs is 1,448. We might as well let him get that milestone, get past that 15-16, and then we can get him a touchdown. So I'm cool with that.
Gotcha. That's good info there. Right here, Prince is saying that, hey, we scooped a running back cut by the Dolphins for the practice squad. Anybody see who we released to make room?
Look at this.
Oh, look at that.
Packers signed cornerback Chris Brooks. Sounds like a country singer, to the practice squad. It sounds like we lost Messiah Swinson, though. Is that correct, Tim? Did you hear the same thing? Did he go to the Panthers or somewhere? Am I thinking right? Or
I'm not sure where he went, but I think it was Swinson that was gone.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, the Packers obviously adding a little more running back depth there on the 69-man roster. So we'll see if he pans out and how that all goes. Now, since we're talking, go ahead, Jake. I'm sorry. Keep on hitting, bro.
Oh, no, sorry. Just real quick, because Chad Egg said, how serious do you think the Dobbs hand injury is? Because he was one of a few that were limited, not necessarily taken out of practice today. But from what I understand, Matt LaFleur said it was more of a precautionary type thing where they just don't want it to get, worse until
I got
the game
a quote
starts.
from Romeo Dobbs. Quote,
Perfect.
It was a contusion on my hand. It's taking some time to heal. It is day-to-day process. I was able to function the way I'm supposed to. That's basically it. So sounds like precaution to me. Sounds like probably, rehab all the way up until game time. And I would 99% expect to see number 87 out there playing on Friday.
Gotcha. And the last one quick here, and we'll get back to the meat and potatoes of the podcast here. Ron Sanford says Hurts yards per rush as a rookie was 5.6 and has gone down each year by and now it's at 3.9 last year. And I think that's probably an indication of what Clayton mentioned earlier, that tush push. When you're only looking for a yard or half a yard or whatever it is, those numbers are going to probably look a lot worse than normally. So,
yep. And here you go, just so you know. Contusions, often referred to as bruises, are common occurrences in our day-to-day life. They occur with impact, crushing, or twisting forces or a direct blow to the hand. They disrupt blood flow and lead to pain, swelling, and limited range of motion. Emilio, are you taking notes? Contusions can occur at the level of skin, muscle, or bone. All right?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
How long does it take to heal? Usually to go away about 2 to 4 weeks, but if you're an absolute dog like Romeo Dobbs, it's just a day or two, you're good to go, man. So.
They hurt like hell. You forgot that part.
Yeah.
The right spot, the right bruise. Yeah, it hurts bad.
Clayton, those are the ones you normally get on your shins trying to cross over the trailer.
Oh, my God. Bro, the trailer hitch.
That toe hitch, bam.
Boom.
I've done that multiple times.
I've said some wordy dirts.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And you think you said him quiet, but you had your headphones in, so you screamed him.
Oh, you screaming top.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many times that's happened. Eric's like, bro, that echoed through the neighborhood. I'm like, what? Like, everybody. My bad. If you guys would take a quick second, we got a bunch of people in here. Hit that like button for us. Feel free to sub to the channel. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. I know we have some Eagle fans roll through too. I'm sure y'all don't want to sub to the channel, nor do we want you to, but we appreciate you hanging out with us, man. So there you go. Next, Jacob, get any more message? Any more chat? Are we good? We all caught up, brother?
We're caught up. I'm just looking to see if there's any more. It's
all right, cool.
Yeah, right here. Len made a good point though. He says Messiah Swinson signed to Panthers 53-man roster. That's actually pretty impressive. 53.
Big old boy, man. Big old boy. So
That's awesome for him, man. I still feel like, dude, the Panthers, they've been 32nd for what, 2 years in a row now? We need to turn that around. Jacob, why don't you pick them up on college football and see if you can't turn that program around?
You're gonna demote the Carolina Panthers to college football and take them to a natty.
I'm happy to announce that today we won the national championship for the city of San Antonio.
Nice.
Very happy. Now I got to start it over again and go back up to varsity.
Playoffs?
He said up to varsity.
Dude, I haven't played in like 15 years.
He's playing on JV.
Bro, I was schooling these fools. Every single snap, I got a sack double.
Tim, this guy is playing. Oh no!
I'm playing St. Kate's School for the Deaf and Blind, and I'm
do
showing no mercy.
Please do us a favor, Jake. Would you take a look of your stats? I got to know what's your stats.
Yeah,
I bet he threw for 8,000 yards.
Oh, he had to have. If not, you're in for a rude awakening when they start running faster, Jacob. Let me tell you what.
Oh my God! All right, so here's an update on Marshawn Lloyd. Robbie Mosky had tweeted out rookie Marshawn Lloyd hamstring not with the running back group during pre-practice stretch today. He was on the stationary bike and looks like a no-go after practicing the last 2 days. Everyone else went to the practice field outside, I believe is what it says. Now, he had quote tweeted that and said, LaFleur said Lloyd did not have a setback. I repeat, Marshawn Lloyd did not have a setback, and this was the plan after, quote, 2 good days of practice. So, Tim, it sounds like Marshawn Lloyd might get some playing time, my man. We might see him on that field in Brazil.
It would be nice because we haven't seen much of Marshawn Lloyd other than, if you've been paying attention a lot during camp, that's about it. So it'd be nice to get him out there early and often and, see what he's really got because, hammy, hip issues in a running back, those are always tough. And it's good to know that he had, a couple good days of practice here. Hopefully he has himself a game, but I do think even, like I said before, I think it's running back by committee. Having Josh Jacobs here, fills that void that a guy like Aaron Jones leaves when he leaves your organization. So that was a great move to bring another veteran running back in here. But that being said, I don't think it's going to be all Josh Jacobs. I think we're going to see Emmanuel Wilson. We're going to see Marshawn Lloyd down the stretch. We might see guys like Ellis Merriweather at certain points of the year. So I'm excited about this running back room, but I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think Marshawn Lloyd has star potential. I really do. Guy's got star written all over him, and it all starts on Friday. So hopefully he gets a lot of carries. I'm with you. I hope
he was a little lower on my draft board, Tim, but Daniel Jeremiah has forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. He said he was his best running back in the draft, man. That's really exciting. As far as Marshawn Lloyd, I had him at the 7th best running back, which is definitely in the top third of running backs in the draft, brother. So shout out to Jen Wright, became a member here on YouTube. Appreciate you, Jen. Good to see you in here, ma'am. Thank you for swinging through, and thanks for supporting the channel. All right, let's see. We got anything else starred here? Did you star that, Emilio, or did Jacob do that?
Jacob definitely started that one.
All right, cool.
I
can't tell if he's joking or not. I think he's.
Yeah, I was just going to try to search that up, but we're just going to leave it. Yeah.
2-0 for this. We love you, brother. We're going to leave that one alone for us.
Appreciate you testing our
he's
AI.
He's a real person, guys. He's a real person.
I understand he's a real person. I just don't know if it's actually his cousin or not. Is what
I get you. I
think he might just be wanting us to say Yankoff on the show. So there you go. We said Yankoff. Congratulations to us. You did it, sir. All right, let's see what else we got here real quick before let's dive into the injury report. Is that cool? So kind of a small list here for both teams. Obviously, let's start with the Packers. Edgerrin Cooper with the hip. He was limited today. Romeo Doubs with the hand contusion, limited. Marshawn Lloyd, hamstring, did not participate. We just heard you say that was all part of the plan there, according to Matt LaFleur. Carrington Valentine, hamstring, limited participation. And then Emmanuel Wilson with the hip, limited participation. So my guess is Marshawn Lloyd, I'd say Emmanuel Wilson has a better chance to play than Marshawn Lloyd, but you'll probably see all three active on game day. The way, based off of what Matt LaFleur said there, that could be the case. So keep in mind they signed that extra running back to the practice squad. I'm not saying they would activate him on game day. Obviously, have him 1 day in the building, but sometimes that can speak volumes when you bring that position in and re-up that position group, I should say. Edgerrin Cooper, fellas, how are we feeling about Cooper? Do we think we're going to see him Friday night, man? Do y'all think it's finally time we're going to see him on the field? I don't think he would start in that nickel set. I don't even know if he'll start in the base 4-3, but maybe they try to get him out there on special teams and get him some snaps in kind of a reliever role. Tim, I'll go with you. You're the defensive fan here, brother. How do you feel about Coop? You think we're going to see him out there, man?
I think very sparingly. I think, he was kind of a late addition towards the end of camp, finally saw some time on the field. I don't know. I agree with your assessment. If we are going to see him, it's probably going to be limited, maybe a snap or two here and there, and then special teams play. But that's a guy with high ceiling, right? So if he's limited, he's got a hip issue, we don't want to just throw him into the fire right away and, ruin things for him before it gets started. So I would think he's progressing along at whatever rate he's progressing, and they're going to clearly make him a part of this defense and this linebacking core, which is why he's on this team. And I would anticipate with him being limited, he'll be active, ready to go. But I don't think we're going to see a ton of Edgerrin Cooper on Friday. But you know how football games are; that could change. 5 minutes into the first quarter, we don't know. So
yeah.
Hopefully, if his number is called, he's ready to roll. And I'm looking forward to seeing him though. As well as guys like Tyron Hopper too. I love our linebacker room. I know we've talked about that possibly being one of the shortcomings on this defense, if you will. But I don't care what anyone says. I'll take Quay Walker, Zay McDuffie, and Mr. Wilson any day of the week. And when you got guys like Cooper and Hopper coming behind them, you can't really go wrong there. So hopefully we see a little bit of Coop on Friday.
Got it. Dave's MX6 Garcia said they would activate Merriweather before the new guy. Absolutely, man. There's no chance the new guy's going to see game time. I'm just simply saying when they bolster a position like that, it does make me think, all right, is Marshawn Lloyd not far along as they need him to be, and is Matt LaFleur throwing a little smoke screen there? But, Jacob, this injury report here, anything you want to hit on before we get to Emilio here?
Well,
as far as the Green Bay side.
Right. Honestly, I'm not too concerned about any one of those players individually. It just is concerning. Those are the 3 H's I don't want to see is the hands, the hips, and the hamstrings.
A lot of H's out there. You're right.
You know what I mean? Also some human. Never mind.
Especially on a receiver, right?
Well, that's the thing.
A hand injury on a lineman is like, tape it up and put the club on it and let it go. But
that was going to be my point too, is hip on a linebacker, not great. Hand on a wide receiver, not great. Hamstring with a running back, not great. Hamstring with a quarterback, not great.
Right.
Hip with a running back, it's not. Those aren't all things you just kind of put a bandage on and you can just go. Those are more like, hey, that kind of is the main, part of what I do here. So I hope that this was all precautionary and that a few more days, a little more ice baths, whatever you got to do.
Oh no.
What?
It's just in.
Oh no.
Chris C. Ron Torbert is going to be our official on Friday.
What is that?
That's your guy, Tim. That's your guy.
You sure about that?
What's his deal, Tim?
Oh,
what's his problem?
I'm not going to drag him.
You just did.
You already.
No, I just highlighted a chat.
And you went, oh no!
Let Chris C take the rap for this one. That was Chris. That wasn't me. I don't know what the hell you're talking
Here,
about.
I'll sum up my feelings about Mr. Torbert.
Yeah, that was definitely wet. That was a wet one. A little too in the end. All right. Emilio, What's your main concern here? Any concern you feel good about the Packers' health, man? I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of excited to see only one did not participate here.
Yeah, and I think we knew that one was coming, right? With March Hunt, he hasn't been out there. I think everybody else is perfectly fine. Carrington, isn't going to be out there starting this year, so it's all right that he's got that little bug. Emmanuel, we're going to probably need him a little bit more, but you might as well rest him and take it easy. Just go through uppers, take it, get your stretching in, all that. I'm fine with it. Like you said, I think we're healthy and best we can be going into this week.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we'll pick up with the Eagles injury report and then do our PFF preview in hour 3. For those of you listening on the pod, we will see you on the other side. Appreciate you.